Right now, you're tired. You've got emails to answer, bills to pay, and a 40-hour work week that feels more like 80. We've been told that progress made life easier, that technology saved us time. But what if I told you that 30,000 years ago, your great-great-great-grandpa had more me time than a billionaire on vacation? Welcome to the life of a hunter-gatherer. Anthropologists call them the original affluent society. Why? Because they only worked about 15 to 20 hours a week. Work for them wasn't spreadsheets. It was gathering nuts, berries, and the occasional hunt. Once the stomach was full and the water skins were topped up, they were done. No overtime, no side hustles, no checking in with the boss. When the food was found, the workday ended, usually by noon. So what do you do with 12 hours of sunlight and zero chores? You did what humans were actually evolved for, nothing. They spent hours grooming each other, telling stories, playing with kids, or just staring at the horizon. We call this boredom. They called it living. Their brains weren't constantly being hijacked by notifications. Their dopamine came from a good conversation or the taste of a wild honeycomb. Imagine waking up without an alarm. No phone buzzing on the nightstand, no traffic sounds filtering through the window, no schedule to check. Instead, you open your eyes to the soft gray light of dawn filtering into a rock shelter. The air is cool and crisp. You don't rush. You don't have to be anywhere. Your office is the entire forest, and your colleagues are your family. In this world, silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's a symphony. Modern humans are never truly in silence. You have the hum of a refrigerator, the distant drone of an engine, the static of electricity in the walls. Your ancestors lived in a world of natural high definition. They could hear the specific rustle of a dry leaf under a predator's paw from 50 yards away. They could smell rain coming from miles across the plains. When you spend 12 hours a day doing nothing, your senses don't turn off. They turn up. Every bird call is a status update. Every shift in the wind is a weather report. We've traded this sensory superpower for a 6-inch glowing rectangle that fits in our pocket. We have more information than they ever did, but we see, hear, and smell less of the actual world than any generation in human history. For the modern human, the concept of a 15-hour work week sounds like a fairy tale. We imagine them running for their lives from lions every 5 minutes or shivering in the dark, starving. But the data from modern hunter-gatherer tribes like the Hadza or the Kung tells a different story. They don't work hard because they don't need to. They don't store wealth, so they don't need to work for tomorrow. They only work for today. This freedom was only possible because of the tribe. Imagine living in a world with no privacy. You ate together, moved together, and slept together. 30 people in a single cave, huddled for warmth. To us, that sounds like a nightmare. To them, it was the ultimate security. In the modern world, you can be surrounded by millions of people in a city and feel completely alone. You have followers, but no tribe. Your ancestors never knew the feeling of isolation. To be alone in the prehistoric world was a death sentence. Their social bonds were so tight that they could sense the mood of a tribe member just by the way they breathed in their sleep. They shared everything. If one person ate, everyone ate. There was no poverty because there was no private property. Now it wasn't all lounging and honey. If the rain didn't stop, you went hungry. If a predator showed up, your day off became a race for your life. But even their hardest work, the hunt, was a biological masterpiece. Humans aren't the fastest animals. We can't outrun a deer or outmuscle a lion, so how did we survive? We outstubborned them. It's called persistence hunting. We are the only animals on Earth that can sweat efficiently. While a kudu or a zebra eventually overheats and collapses, a human can just keep walking. For 8 hours, your ancestors would track an animal through the midday heat. It was grueling, it was hot, and it was exhausting. But when they finally succeeded, the dopamine hit was unlike anything you can find in a modern office. It wasn't just a paycheck, it was the survival of your family. It was a chemical reward for being the most persistent creature on the planet. Today, we try to recreate this feeling with gym memberships and marathons, but We are just ghost hunting a feeling that used to be our daily reality. When a hunter brings down a deer, the work is over for the whole tribe for days. They sit, they talk, they laugh, they nap. Can you remember the last time you truly sat and did nothing for 4 hours? Without checking a screen? Without feeling guilty that you should be doing something productive? This boredom was the most productive force in human history. In those 12 hours of free time, we didn't just sit. We invented. We looked at a plain bone and wondered if it could play a note. And music was born. We looked at the stars and saw patterns, and navigation was born. We looked at each other and shared stories of where we came from, and culture was born. If our ancestors had worked 40 hours a week, we would still be in the Stone Age. Innovation requires idleness. Your brain needs the silence of the cave to hear its own ideas. We traded 20 hours of free time for iPhones, air conditioning, and second-day shipping. We are the richest humans to ever live, but we are also the most time-poor. We have conquered the planet, built skyscrapers, and put robots on Mars, but we lost the one thing our ancestors had in abundance: the freedom to simply exist. We are living in a biological mismatch. We have the bodies and brains of people designed to roam the savannah for 4 hours and rest for 20. Instead, we sit in chairs for 10 hours and stare at spreadsheets. No wonder we are tired. No wonder we are anxious. We are high-performance engines being forced to idle in a traffic jam for 40 years straight. Next time you're sitting in traffic or staring at a loading bar on your screen, remember your great-great-great-grandpa. He's probably sitting by a stream somewhere in your DNA, wondering why you're working so hard for things you don't need. Tomorrow, try staring at a tree for 10 minutes. No music, no podcasts, no goals. Your ancestors would be proud. Subscribe for more looks into the world we left behind.